Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. DAPs.
I'm Caitie.
I'm Jenny.
And it is warm tonight because we're going to talk about Florida. That must be it. Like, we have to be sweating to talk about Florida. And how are you guys very quickly?
Good.
Toasty.
Caitie has water. That's good. I have coffee.
I have water.
Okay, so two of us are smart.
Just stop drinking coffee.
No, we need the coffee. It's important. I don't know.
Do we?
Yes, absolutely. So today, we'll just get right started. The cast member preview for Magic Kingdom and Disney's Animal Kingdom was held over in Florida, and there was a lot of video and photos that came out through the day. And let's start, before we get into details about it, what were your first reactions to everything? Like, as you think about everything you've seen today, what's your first reaction to the first preview day for cast members?
Out of all the places that are open in Central Florida, I think that Walt Disney World is handling this the best.
Cool.
I think it's very safe, looking at it. Do I think that they should be open? Probably not. But I think that if they're going to be open, they're doing it in a very smart and safe way.
Cool. Jenny?
Yeah, I thought everything, I feel like with all the barriers, because I feel like those were like my favorite photos. I felt like it was very like futuristic, in which we're all in like bubbles. Because it's like they, implemented all of these things. But I bet it's really echoey. I'm guessing. But it made me, I guess, kind of excited for whenever we open here, because I feel good about seeing that and that happening clearly here. Yeah.
Totally. And we've got Downtown Disney opening in just a couple of days with its phased reopening. So I'm sure we'll get a first glimpse at that as well. I agree with both of you. It looked very well done, well thought out. I liked seeing all of the different dots on the ground and in theaters. Like even in Tiki Room, that you could sit in certain rows, but you couldn't sit in other rows. And then I really liked, I just felt like they went above and beyond to make sure that they set the stage for a safe experience. And then it looked like, I didn't see any pictures without masks today. That doesn't mean they didn't exist, but it looked to me like it was 100% compliance on mask wearing, which was really good as well. And so I have a feeling that was probably, for however many hours they were open today, 8 hours or whatever, that might have been the safest place in Florida to be. I mean, outside of your home. And who knows, maybe it's even safer than that, just because of the way they can clean. My work, we're putting in, I think, a new air conditioner that actually scrubs the air of potential coronavirus bacteria, or whatever that is. And so there are types of air conditioners out there that actually help clean the air and make it safer for you. And I would assume if my work is doing this, Disney probably did as well for its inside experiences. So I was very impressed with it. And I was geeking out a little bit about it too. So as you're thinking about everything you saw today, what is the iconic thing that you saw? And you can't say Cinderella Castle. We'll talk about that later. What is the thing that stands out to you that was like, oh, that's really cool?
Horses. Merida on a horse. Gaston on a horse. Put all the characters on horses. That is the best way. Because obviously you cannot approach a horse. I know guests will probably try, but that is not a very good idea. I will tell you that now.
Well, and they're part of the cavalcade too, so they really couldn't approach the horses.
Yeah, but it's amazing, and it's a great storytelling aspect, both for Gaston and for Merida. But when I saw that, I had this moment of, wow. Like, it was, there are sometimes when Disney has to do things, it can teeter the line of, oh, they have to do this and they're finding a way to make it work. And, wow, that's really magical. And the horses were, wow, that's really magical.
Especially Gaston. Like Merida, we have a group text, and I sent the group text. I was like, Roger and Caitie, you got to see this. And they geeked out appropriately. And then, like, what was it, an hour or two later, I see the Gaston one. And I was just like, oh, that one's even better. Like, I don't know, because we've seen Merida on a horse before when they made her an official Disney princess or whatever it was
like
years
7
ago.
Years ago.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'd seen it before. I've never seen Gaston in the parks on a horse before, and that was super cool too. Jenny, what was your
Well, you took my horse, so
you can
rude.
take it too. You're totally
I mean, I liked seeing, like, it was Tinkerbell, right, on the float?
Yes.
I think that's a really cool idea too.
Mhm.
So you get like really cool shots of the floats that obviously exist that we're not using for the parades, and then putting a character on it. And then it can be like, look, it's me and Tinkerbell on this float. Right? Something you can never do as the parade passes you. It's never going to look that good.
That is very true, and there was so much space between each thing too that seemed to help as well, and for photos like that, like there was a ton of space between people, and I'll be curious to see how much busier it is when it opens on the 11th, and then the other two parks open 4 days later on the 15th for Epcot in Disney's Hollywood Studios. I have to agree. I think the cavalcades were some of the wins for me. I also really liked seeing the Country Bears on the roof of Country Bear Jamboree, which I don't believe was open today, but hopefully it will be soon. They can put more stickers to not sit by each other and stuff. But it's a fun attraction. It's one of those ones that you just have to do at least once on each trip, kind of like Carousel of Progress. But it was fun seeing them. I saw a video of, I think it might have been the Princess Cavalcade going by, and Big Al was just sitting there waving at him, and it was just one of those, like, I love this moment. I want more moments like this to happen, because usually you don't see that kind of a crossover, and Big Al is just hilarious in general anyway. Let's talk about the safety protocols that we saw in place. So we saw that people they walked through a sensor basically as they were going through the heat tents, and they changed security. I actually dug into this a little bit more. You put your electronics or metal devices or anything metal in a plastic bag so that they can basically look through the plastic bag and check it out, it looked like. Whereas if it's not metal, you can just carry it through whatever this is. And I thought that was cool too. And then they had social distancing circles. They had the non-mask area where you could get a rest. They had the plexiglass walls everywhere. They had, what else am I missing that was safety? They were cleaning attractions between runs for the most part. It seemed like almost every attraction was getting done, almost every ride. I think I saw that Big Thunder Mountain was every 20 minutes, it was getting a full, complete wipe down and cleaning up. But for the most part, I felt like they were doing a really good job of keeping things sanitary, healthy, and clean. What did you guys think of what you saw from a health standpoint and a safety?
One, I saw someone on Twitter say that they don't want to call it plexiglass, they want to call it pixie glass. And I think that that's my new favorite thing. To the point where I might even take that to my work.
I think you should. That's a good idea.
And my baristas are going to hate it.
Perfect.
I can't wait. No, I thought that the way that they are doing food is very interesting. You all know that I love mobile ordering more than anything in the world. Because I don't like talking to people. But it's true. But I think the system they have in place for mobile ordering is fascinating. Like, you mobile order, and then you find a cast member who directs you an area to stand in, and then your app will update and tell you which window to head to pick up your order, or like which number to stand on, or what have you. I think that's genius.
Mm-hmm.
It's a socially distant area to wait in, and then it's a specific window, because I'm very interested to see how it plays out here, because frequently the mobile order window, it's like 20 people kind of crowded around, and you hear them say your name, and you're like, hi, that's me. You're like trying to push forward. So I like the idea a lot, and I'd be very interested to see how the implementation works as it goes on.
Well, and I think the thing to remember with that too is there's going to be so much fewer people there.
Yes.
It's not going to be like Rise of the Resistance opening day where there's a line going all the way down Main Street, because there's just not that many people in the park when it reopens. Jenny, what do you think of the safety protocols?
Yeah, same thing. I liked that whole mobile order thing. Like, I want to go through it now. I'm like
you
I'm
probably
ready.
will.
Right. So that, like, okay, take me to. I want to be led places. I like that. I like having it'll be like having my own tour guide, but
Mhm.
it's my own tour guide for food.
For
And that just sounds
food.
like a dream because we
That
are
would
food people.
that would be a really
And
good and expensive idea.
yeah, I would just need my
Exactly what
own
Disney likes.
food tour guide. And so yeah, I thought like I said, I was fascinated by all of like the glass walls and
You know
I
what?
can't call it pixie glass. I'm not going to do it.
You don't have to. You
I
know,
will
one
for
of my
you.
favorite ones though was actually on Kilimanjaro Safari, where they actually have like a screen between each row of the truck. So once you get onto the truck, you can actually take your mask off. It said, and I thought that was a pretty cool thing because you're what 15, 20 minutes. I don't remember how long that is, but that's kind of a nice rest area as you get to go through and see all the animals, and that'd be fun too. And then I noticed Mike said that they have curtain dividers in the monorail cars, and they also reupholstered them, I believe. It looked like, and they've updated those a bit, which is pretty cool. And overall, I think for day one, well done, Disney. Like
Yeah.
I'm impressed, and it makes me feel a lot more confident about what we're going to see when the Walt Disney World parks reopen, and then eventually when the Disneyland resort parks reopen as well. I think the downside of it going as well as it did is more people are gonna be like, oh, I want to go, and so I think the demand is going to go higher, much like it's already there, but it's going to get even more. So that will be interesting to see. And I've also noticed they've opened up more reservations over in Florida as well. So that will be interesting to see how and why and what is going on with that. I'm assuming it's because people are canceling, but I'm assuming it's the Fast Pass Plus system basically that they've modified or used as a baseline. And so, when people cancel their reservation, you can get it. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. All right, let's move right along on, what was it, Friday? It seems like so long ago.
It really does.
The Hamilton was released on Disney Plus, and we have been very curious, I guess is a good way to put this, in anticipation of this movie arriving wherever it was going to end up arriving since we first found out that they filmed it, and that was quite some time ago. And so finally it came to TV screens everywhere, and they did very well in terms of downloads for Disney Plus. So I think they are probably pretty happy with themselves. But how did you feel about the show once you'd seen it now on Friday on Disney Plus?
Well, I'm taking this horse by the reins, making red coats red with bloodstains. I enjoyed it. Here's the thing. I have loved Hamilton for a very long time. I did name my feral tomcat after Hamilton. I've listened to the Broadway recording since it released, which also gave me a lot of time to get burnt out on it. But I still loved the show as a core, but it's like how you can love Frozen, and when it gets to Let It Go, you're like, oh my god, I've heard this song so many times. But watching it the first time was an incredibly overwhelming experience. Like, really overwhelming. Like, I didn't know what to do with myself overwhelming. To the point where I was like, I don't know if I liked that or not. And that sounds weird, because I did enjoy it. I came out of it feeling positive. But so much had happened that I was like, I don't know. The second time...
Because it was so much to digest, or...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's also very hard, especially when you've listened to it as many times as you have in one avenue. It's kind of hard to see things play out a different way. Especially, and also the fact that I'm thinking specifically, I saw Avenue Q off Broadway, and I'd listened to the soundtrack many times. When I saw that in person, it wasn't that weird disconnect of like, wait, I pictured it happening this way, because I was seeing it in person. But I think what Jenny was talking about last week, the fact that I didn't have a lot of that time to process a stage show on my own, I was kind of being told what to see and all that stuff. It was an overwhelming experience.
Let's not forget that statement, because I want to come back to that. Keep going.
Okay. The second time I watched it, I was more ready for the experience that I was going to have. Because it's not a traditional Broadway experience. So I was more ready for what I was going to feel. And then I just watched it again like 4 hours ago with my parents. And I think that was my most, like, positive viewing of it. And I liked it the most because I feel like I took all the expectations off my shoulders.
And you could
But
just
I will
enjoy
say that this doesn't take away from Broadway. So people that say, "Oh, well, people aren't going to want to watch it on Broadway," yes, they will. They're still going to want to watch it on Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Jenny.
I would like to just point out how correct I was.
Are you going to make a disclaimer here or no?
A disclaimer. I mean, just at how correct I was at how close we got to people's faces, right?
Oh, yes.
How it literally went, Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton.
But it wasn't Les Mis close. It wasn't quite that close. Like, it was close, but not Les Mis close.
It wasn't Les Mis close, but it was close. The fact that they scooped in on every single time he said his name, and then all of a sudden, like on Just You Wait, then they pulled back.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. I will say it was interesting because, like, so since I've seen the show, there were so many like lighting things and choreography things that like I was worried they were going to miss, and they did. So like, and so I think I always point out the opening number where it's like, we fought with him, we died with him, I loved him, whatever. I don't know the words.
Did you feel like they got better with that as the show progressed? Because when we rewatched it on Sunday, I was totally thinking that at the beginning, and then I was like, oh, as the show gets further in, I think they got more comfortable, because at the end when they did that, they totally nailed it. Anyway, keep going.
Sure. Yeah, no, they did better. And then my other weird thing is I think when they did the up close videoings with no audience, so they could be on the stage, obviously, they didn't adjust the lighting to filming those angles. So like some of the lighting, I was actually talking about it with my best friend Bill today. And I was like, oh, in this one number, I was like, everything was just so blue. I was like, but it wouldn't normally look like that because you wouldn't normally be able to see it from that angle. Yes. And I also felt today I feel like they didn't necessarily use all the spotlights that they normally would on stage, which make you look less like the colors of the lights.
And I had a feeling, I have a hunch on that. Well, I think because it would have overdone their white balance for the cameras, and their ISO would have had issues. And I'm getting a little bit in the weeds on TV production, but I do think I was viewing this from some of my team's standpoints, and I was like, this is in some ways a television nightmare the way it was filmed, because they really didn't come in and be like, hey, let's light this for television. They're like, hey, we've got this show, let's capture it. And at least that's what it looks like to me, because there is one scene, especially, what was it, Burn, with Eliza's blue face, where it literally looks like she has blue screen on her face or something, and it's just disappearing. And these are totally, we will acknowledge we're nitpicking here, because overall I think 2 thumbs up. Like, it's an enjoyable.
Oh, I loved it. Like, Leslie Odom Jr.
Oh,
amazing.
My gosh, butter.
Yeah,
butter
and
so good.
And each time you watch it, you pick up how good he is, like, even more. But there were little things that were just kind of like, oh, you clearly had, this wasn't a television lighting guy that did this. This was a stage lighting guy, and there's a big difference. And the sound, though, I thought was really, like, they did a fantastic job with, which to me can always kind of be hit or miss in recordings of stage productions, and I thought they did a fairly good job with that. I'm trying to think of anything. Like, I think the thing I really like about it is this was one of those rare occasions where we watched an entire show and there wasn't like one actor in it where we're like, ooh, like there wasn't that cringe moment. It was more of like, oh, I love this guy. Oh, I love her. She's so cool. She carries the bullet. Like, we had so many.
That's the part Mr. DAPs wants to be. He wants to carry the bullet. Just putting it out there.
He wants to be the ultimate death.
I am so fascinated by that role. I think it's such a well done storytelling device that you may not notice, but it's there and it adds depth to the show. But overall, I thought it was much better than I was expecting. And Caitie's 100% right. Is the first time you see it, it's overwhelming. And Jenny's right also, where you really do need to see it in person, because there's so many cool things happening on the stage, whether it's choreography or even moving things on the side of the stage to set up for the next song that you're not going to realize that they're doing. And like, there's just a ton of cool details happening that you just can't get when you're in a close up, or you're really having your eye carried for you. On the flip side, I thought they did a really good job of telling the story through cameras, as good as you can get without just sitting it up there and leaving it, which I think most of the population wouldn't be a huge fan of. I was going to have you put a tack in. What was it? I forgot.
I said something about the shots and being told where to look.
Oh, I think I hit that. So
I think
never mind.
Anyway. I will say, this is totally not about Hamilton, but we did talk about our watch party that we did on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I did just get a message from Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
She would like us for our next watch party to live tweet Country Bear, the 2001 film.
I haven't watched that since 2001.
I've only seen it in bits and pieces, and to be completely honest, I forget it's a real movie and not a fever dream.
I think that would be fun. If you'd like to watch, do a live watch with watch party, that's what we call them, with us, let us know in the comments, or hashtag Geeks Corner. And if you would like it to be the 2001 Country Bear movie, let us know in that comment or tweet as well. And if we get enough response to that, we will do it. And we'd love you all to join us, because they really are fun. Like these, I really do enjoy these watch parties because we just kind of goof off and get to interact with everybody, and they're a blast. And you can go back and rewatch them. Anything else you guys want to say on Hamilton? 2 thumbs up. I think we all agree. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have to rate it. That's very important. So Jurassic Park continues its franchise, and it keeps getting hopefully bigger and better. But Jurassic World Dominion is going back into production very soon. And that will be the newest movie in the franchise. And this last week, we learned that some people from the original aren't just going to be cameos, but they're going to be like actually in the film throughout the film. And so we're going to have Dr. Grant and I'm totally spacing their names, even though I watched the movie last night.
Sam Neill?
Ian.
That's Dr. Grant, Ian Malcolm, and Laura Dern's character is...
Oh, I can't remember her name.
Ellie?
That sounds right.
Anyway, those three. The original... Say what?
Someone will tell us in the comments.
Yes, it'll be in the comments. They'll save us. So the original trio will be in Jurassic World Dominion. They'll be joining the new cast for Jurassic World that we've come to know and love as well. What do you guys think of this trio mixing with the new cast and having a substantial role?
I think it's fantastic. I love Jurassic Park. It is probably in my top 10 movies. I remember it terrifying me when I saw it in the theater, but then I also saw it again like 3 days later because I wanted to see it again and scream again. So
100%, yeah.
I think it's exciting because I think it'll be a good way to like a cameo is fun, but like to actually like meld them together more.
Yeah, it really pulls everything together, and I think that will be a really fantastic thing. And I do want to question, like, the first time you saw it, is there any one moment that really stands out to you as like that was your favorite moment or the most memorable moment of Jurassic Park?
When the T-Rex steps in the mud and like squishes.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say the footsteps, but no, it's the mud squish.
Okay, cool. Caitie, what do you think about this casting choice?
Do I have the most memorable moment from Jurassic Park?
You can have that too. I mean, I think we know what that.
Do we? I think it's good. Fun fact, Jurassic World was the first of any Jurassic film I had ever seen. And I saw it in theaters. It was a choice.
Which I think was a good choice.
No. Seeing it in theaters was good.
Yeah.
But having that be the first Jurassic movie I had ever seen?
I think it could have been worse. Like, if you're not going to see the first movie first, that's the one to see first.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think it's fine.
Bad. It wasn't a bad experience. I just think back on that. I'm like, I
So what was the memorable moment from Jurassic Park?
Let's see. My memorable moment from Jurassic Park was definitely when everyone was happy and no one got eaten by dinosaurs. No, my favorite moment was when I was watching Jurassic Park, and I think we've told this story like 27 times, but I'm going to tell it 28.
Good, we never get tired of it.
And, well, you always tell it, so let me tell it. So, Mr. Naps and Cameron, I was watching this film with, they decide that turning off all the lights to watch Jurassic Park is great, which is what we just did for Hamilton. We turned off all the lights. A true movie experience. But they also said, oh, also, here's this nice comfy chair right in the middle of the room. Made up a good story about this is where the surround sound is the best.
And the screen is the biggest and right in front of you. Yes, keep going.
Meanwhile, Mr. Naps and Cameron were directly behind me in a chair much like this. So that when the goat was missing, and they're like, where's the goat? Which I should have known was a red flag, the fact that they asked where the goat was. Because, they've seen the film. And then the goat appears in the way the goat does, and I just get a giant on the back of my chair, which I hated. So every time I think about Jurassic Park, I think about the time that I jumped 20 feet in the air because of bad friends.
So you're excited.
You should watch it with me. It would be fun to watch with me.
Yeah, I think so.
We would sing all the dinosaur themes.
Yes, we would.
We would name all the dinosaurs.
Fun. I like that idea.
Perfect. I think it'll be fun. You're looking forward to the next movie, though?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. There's a second one, right, of the World franchise? I haven't seen that one.
It did really well in the box office, and I didn't particularly love it. Okay. The first one I really enjoyed. The second one I was kind of like, And going back, and I've rewatched all of them now, and I will have to say the second one of the new ones is my least favorite of the 5 that exist right now. And
really? I haven't seen it. It's worse than Lost World because I can't get through Lost World because I fall asleep.
I just rewatched Lost World because it was on TV the other night, and it was better than I remembered. So I think it's an age thing. Like, it's aged better than when we first saw it. I'm not saying it's great, but I think it moved along quicker, and maybe the ads helped. I don't know, but I thought it was fun. It's not the best movie in the world, but it's good. All right. Finally, speaking of movies, Peter Pan is apparently being remade as a live-action film with Jude Law as Captain Hook in a movie that's currently sounding like it's being called Peter Pan and Wendy. So what do we think of yet another Peter Pan film, for one, that's also another live-action Disney remake, potentially, or retake, reimagining of a story, for 2, and then for 3, Jude Law?
I think it's about time that we got a handsome Captain Hook. So I am pro Jude Law. He's already British, so
that helps.
I feel like British people make very good villains.
You're very right.
He's also incredibly handsome.
And
perhaps
good.
That is how he lures people to do things like for him. So I see no problem with this.
Okay. Caitie?
I don't entirely know how much I love another live action Peter Pan moment.
I want to know what the hook is. That wasn't meant to say.
Jude Law.
Is that? But if that's the only hook, you tell your thing, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. I've got.
Okay. No, and I don't want to be controversial. Peter Pan isn't my favorite Disney story that gets told. I think there are interesting ways to tell it, but I think that overall it's just not entirely my favorite story, and that's nothing against people that do like it. It's just not super interesting to me.
I like the book better.
Yeah, I just don't think that it's a story that needs to be told again, but I do like Jude Law a lot, so I think he'd be a good hook.
So what I would like to see with this is they do need to come at it from a different angle than they've done every other time, and they've tried this, and it hasn't worked. The only time it's worked has been in Hook, where Dustin Hoffman played Captain Hook, and as a kid, I had no recognition that was the same guy as, Tootsie? Like, he was in so many, right? You just don't know. But So I think you almost want like an origin story of Captain Hook, or like do something completely different, but don't make him a good guy that's sympathetic. Like make him a true villain and lean into it. And I just feel like they kind of have they've always missed the mark on Peter Pan movies, especially the ones in the last 15 years. Like ever since Hook, they've always tried to recreate the magic of Hook in their own specific ways, and I just haven't felt like they've nailed that. And my biggest concern with this is the guy that's directing it also directed the remake for Pete's Dragon. And that was not my favorite live action remake that they've done. And to me, it didn't, like, I wanted more in many different directions, and it didn't have the charm of the original, but it didn't make up for it with depth in the new story. And so my concern is that we're going to get a Pete's Dragon 2.0. And to me, that would be the biggest miss with this. Jenny, I know you love Pete's Dragon. Do you want to add in anything to this?
Upon my second time watching the live action, I didn't hate it as much as I hated the first time.
Okay. I went from severe hate to like mostly hate.
So like it wasn't as bad. I just, I think I allowed myself to watch the original, which I love first, and that helped. Okay. I mean, I'm not tired of Peter Pan, so I think it could be very interesting. I'm also ready, Caitie. Here's my hot take. I don't like Hook. I don't think it's a good movie.
Really? And you're entitled to your opinion.
Yep. And I know that's one of Mr. Dapp's favorites. And that's
I will admit there are weak moments in it.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't like it when I was younger. And then I still like now. People go, Hook, I love Hook. And I go,
you know what I think, though, is I heard the soundtrack before I saw the movie. And I do think that helped ease me into it. And I don't know like if that would have changed my experience at all. But I absolutely love that soundtrack. I think it's one of John Williams' beautiful ones. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. He's currently in talks to play Captain Hook. And I have a feeling if the talks fall apart, so will the movie at this point. But you never know. Like, I think they need somebody like Jude Law to add some strength to it and some pull for it, because I just, Pete's Dragon wasn't a big enough movie, I don't think, to get that director to have people be excited about this one without somebody like Jude Law in it. But yeah, we will see. We'll continue to follow these things and see what ends up happening with all of them, including the reopening of Walt Disney World this weekend. We've got the reopening of Downtown Disney this week on Thursday. We'll hopefully have coverage of that as is safely allowed. And we will be there with our masks. I think a few of us, hopefully. At some point this weekend, people will be there. It'll be great. But Caitie, we got to get out of here.
To be completely honest, for a second I blanked out. It's been like a month of this, and I'm still like, what do I say?
I know. We don't have a new routine yet. We'll get there.
We literally don't. And I was trying to remember. I was like, what do I say? Do I say
do the
anything?
Thing where I get to click things?
Yes, I will do the thing where you get to click things. You should go to tapsmagic.com. There you can read all the Disney news as it happens, and there is a lot of it happening. So you should also go over there, subscribe to our mailing list. If you click on the little tab that says Geeks Corner, not only will you find upcoming episodes, but you'll find past episodes, which we have also done a lot of. So you can catch up, be a part of our inside jokes, and subscribe.
Jenny, do you want to say anything?
You should follow us on Instagram at Geeks Corner. On Wednesdays, you get to find out fun facts about people on the team. We have a fun one from Roger tomorrow that is Disney related. That's your little spoiler. And who knows what Mr. Daps and Caitie will say.
And there might be another surprise one too, right?
Sure.
There might be one more coming, right?
No.
Oh, that one's not coming?
No.
Okay. I thought there was one more coming that we were going to surprise people with.
Well, maybe later.
Oh, okay.
Anything is possible. You can also follow us on Twitter at The Geeks Corner.
And then also the DAPs Magic channels. Cool. All right, but that is all the time we have for you this week. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel because we've got lots of stuff coming up, including a mishap with Hondo tomorrow. from the Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run attraction that I found in the archive. So we hope you enjoy that. Let us know what you think of it. And we hope you have an absolutely magical week. And we'll see you around the corner.